Hello and welcome back to CLOWNFISH TV. It is me, Geeky Sparkles, and it is just me for this video because Kneon is busy elsewhere. So today we're going to talk about the fact that we've already announced that the DreamWorks Netflix She-Ra and the Princesses of Power show is leaving Netflix, I think next month. Well, that was announced a little bit back, though we didn't hear much. And then for whatever reason, the last couple of days, I have seen a concerted effort by the media and other people to start hitting this drum about, doing what they can to keep the show or getting Blu-ray or DVD of it and having a hissy fit. It's only been the last couple of days I've been seeing anybody talk about it. Pretty much no one gave a crap before, other than like some people on Blue Sky and X. And now the media is starting to run with these pieces, which is very interesting to me. Before we get into it any further, please like and subscribe. If you do, I'll give you a woohoo. Woohoo. So grab your butts. We're going to talk about this. I am going to have thoughts, so I'm going to pre-warn you I might yell. Don't know yet, but there's a very good chance. So if you remember back when the show was first announced, they first started showing, screenshots and like images from the show. We had a look at Ben 10 and She-Ra, and people, had thoughts. I remember I myself didn't like some of the aspects of the outfit. And because I said I didn't like that it didn't look like She-Ra, immediately somebody decided to call me a bad mom and said, well, you probably don't let your kids even watch Steven Universe. And I was like, well, what's that have to do with anything? But they did watch Steven Universe, ironically. Because before the show even came out, the marketing behind the show and a bunch of people that felt like it was their personal identity were already on the warpath, trying to cause division and trying to start calling anybody who didn't like it some misogynistic, toxic, incel, man baby, whatever, because of course it's only men who don't like this, which is ridiculous. And now they're starting this all over again. I've seen it on a couple boards I was on, and here comes the media trying to drum up, news and I don't know what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to get it to stay on Netflix or something. But it's interesting to me. I was out here, CBR. Netflix is completely erasing its masterpiece reboot of an 80s sci-fi classic. Okay. But when you look for other headlines, Netflix is quietly erasing a critically loved 80s reboot masterpiece. Collider, CBR. Collider, CBR. Guess who owns both of them? VowNet. So we've told you before that people that are like either friends in the media or people that work for the same company will go back channel in their different Discord or their different chats, and they'll try to coordinate things to try to seem like it's amplified or there's more interest in something than there is. Clearly, they are almost down to the same title. And they're both written by dudes. John here over at CBR and Safwan here over at, if they're even real, not AI, over here at Collider. And I'm like, you guys are just already starting this. And I'm seeing it on different message boards. Basically, when it was announced that it was going away, there were some people that were mad about it, but there wasn't a whole lot of discussion about it. It was mentioned and then everybody forgot about it because most people don't care. And now here we are, and out of nowhere, the last 2 or 3 days, I've seen a lot of people suddenly start talking about it and trying to go to all the different He-Man boards and stuff and try to bring it up and try to cause, discussions and drama at the different places. Usually met with everybody who doesn't like it's a piece of crap and a man. And something about, it's made for kids. I'm like, last time I checked, the toxic relationship between She-Ra and Catra was not one I want my kids to emulate. And I don't think my kids need to see She-Ra and Catra making out in the finale. I'm just saying, when they were like little kids, I mean, let's be honest here. It wasn't the little kids that were mostly watching it. Some little kids did watch it, and that's cool. It was mostly the older teens and then the 20-somethings that were the same age as people running the show. And them and their friends were the ones watching it because that was their representation. And that's what it was about. It wasn't about She-Ra. It was She-Ra name only. The show had characters or named after She-Ra characters. Had nothing to do with the original She-Ra show. It was just a show with a She-Ra coat of paint on it. And I don't even completely blame N.D. Stevenson, well, it was Noelle Stevenson at the time, for it. Because when you see her original pitch for the show, their original pitch for the show, it was more geared to the original show. But something between that and what got put on screen arrived. If they had done it the way that was presented initially by N.D. Stevenson, I think it would have been okay. Between that and the fact that before the even show came out, we had decisive move by the marketing team and these people that were probably friends of the people on the show going around just trying to be the most toxic pieces of crap they could to anybody who didn't think it was the best thing ever. And that was before the show came out. It only intensified after the show came out. You can see all my videos on it if you go look. I've been a long time fan of She-Ra. I have a huge collection. You know, this whole thing was just a cluster. And then there's this narrative that's it's just men who don't like it. And that's really ticking me off. We'll talk about that in a minute. But here's the article, one of the articles from John. Netflix is about to let go of one of the best modern reboots of all time. I don't think so, John. And fans might not ever see it again. And they said fans only have a few weeks left to stream it before it leaves January. It leaves Netflix in I think February 21st. Okay. So they're saying that they haven't even announced like a home video on demand or like a video release. I'm of the mindset that I don't have to like the show you like, but I do think they should probably allow some kind of, physical media copy, on demand even is fine or something, but some physical media copy because people aren't going to get to see it again. And I'm wondering, I think there's some kind of, rights issue. It probably was supposed to be on Netflix for like several years and that time frame's up, and now DreamWorks owns it. And there's probably a rights thing that doesn't let them just make, DVDs of it. That doesn't say that DreamWorks won't later on, but if there's not enough money in it, if they don't think there's enough interest in it, if there wasn't enough of an audience for something, they're not going to renew it, nor are they going to release physical media. So if they don't, that just says to me that there wasn't enough demand to warrant it. I don't think there was enough demand to warrant it, but who knows? They said, even the fans who own the complete series on DVD or Blu-ray will be unable to watch She-Ra and the Princess of Power in its entirety. Yes, because I do believe they have some episodes out there, but it's not the whole thing. But at that point, if you already have some out, you might as well just finish it for those people. I mean, if they like it, they're allowed to like it. As long as you're not being a toxic ass, who cares? Developed by N.D. Stevenson, appropriated by N.D. Stevenson. It's based on the 85 Filmation series She-Ra, Princess of Power. It offered... God, I want to smack this guy. It offered less campy iteration. I would beg to differ. Less campy, best friend squad, sleepovers, princess parties. Yeah, so much. I mean, I wouldn't even say juvenile because they were trying to present in a juvenile way, but it was with more adult themes about who was dating who and who was interested in who. I watched it. Don't give me that it's not campy. Kiss my ass. Iteration of the story fans already know and love, except it was nothing like the show fans already know and love. The series follows Adora, once a member of evil Hordak's army, whose life takes a drastic turn when she discovers a magic sword that gives her the powers of She-Ra. Over the course of the series, Adora works tirelessly to combat Hordak's evil horror, protect Eternia, and reunite with her lifelong friend Catra. That's not what that was about. It was about Catra having the hots for Adora and them ending up. And the kiss of love's what saves. Right. It is not the show. It is not the original show. It is a completely different show with a She-Ra coat of paint on it because they had the rights to She-Ra. My thing is, I would have had more respect for it and I would have given it a bigger pass. It had been its own thing. All right. What did critics and audiences think? Oh, this will be good, John. Critics, it had 52 episodes across 5 seasons. Yes, each season was like a few episodes. So it wasn't really 5 seasons. It was like 1 season, maybe 2. That's not like 2 seasons, like 1 season. The original show had 90-some episodes. In that time, the series was widely lauded by critics and audiences. No, it was widely lauded by critics and all the typical people you'd think that would laud the show. It won 4 Daytime Emmy Awards and then GLAAD Media for Outstanding Kids and Family Programming. The LGBTQ awards for, stuff they're pushing on kids. At the time of writing, it holds 96% fresh because of the critics, but the audiences gave it a lower score. And I can tell you for a fact that over on Instagram and Reddit, there were concerted efforts by groups of people to go and artificially vote it up. I saw them. They were going out there to try to, coordinate to attack people who didn't like the show. They were going out there to coordinate to artificially inflate the ratings. It was out there. Okay. So they don't talk about the pushback. They don't talk about the fact that, a lot of people didn't like this show. They don't talk about the toxic marketing. They don't talk about anything like that. So we go out to Collider. This is Safwan. And it's talking about leaving February 21st, modern reboot of She-Ra, Princess of Power, which it really isn't. They talk about the voice cast, same thing. They talk about the same thing, the awards, the audience score, same thing. Here, the removal comes as part of a Netflix broader February licensing shakeup, which includes the departure of dozens of films and series in the month, including Rebellion, Paris Is Us, Big Family Cooking Showdown, Parasite, Groundhog Day, Mean Girls, and Terminator. I think it's because of licensing, and I think that if they're not performing well, they're just taking it off. Okay, it is what it is. Andy Stevenson, actually, I think Andy Stevenson's actually been pretty. I think to their credit, they've been pretty good about not making it worse. They've been pretty professional in their responses. Stevenson taken X to give fans an update, acknowledges that they had known about it for a while, which they would have, and that the streamer had removed several other DreamWorks shows because their license agreements expired. Yeah, that's what I kind of figured. That despite the series being branded as a Netflix original, the platform functioned as an exclusive distributor rather than the rights holder, which is DreamWorks. Okay. And, there's a lot of people who worked on the show, but they encourage fans to revisit the series while it's available, watch it, and hopefully they can find a new platform or physical release, which is possible. If Netflix didn't put money into it and DreamWorks gets the license back, it's possible it can find a new place. They can put it on one of the platforms. So DreamWorks, I think, is Universal, and Universal would be Comcast. So it's possible they put it on something of their own platform. We don't know. It's possible. But, they're both right. To this one's credit, they kind of stuck to the facts. But the reality is that what happened was, as I've discussed, and you want to see what was going on in real time, you can go watch the videos. There was a concerted effort to try to, cause drama. And I think the behavior of people in the marketing department, of people who were the she-re stands, we actually call them she-res at this point because they just screeched all the time, was that a lot of people who might have given the show a chance didn't even watch the show because they were immediately called names and there was a lot of pushback. I watched parts of it. It got better. The second season was better than the first season. By the third season, I was completely checked out because it was like, this is just stupid. It's just stupid. I'm sorry, but it was. And if you're an old school fan, you might have liked it, and that's okay. It's a new iteration, a new version of the show, and I understand that. But I just couldn't get past how it was dumbed down. I couldn't get past the behavior of the people involved, the people around it. And even now, so we're talking years down the road, this is 2018 it came out, so we're years later. And I was just the last couple of days on different boards I'm on, because I'm on Masters Universe boards, because I wasn't just a fan of this stuff because it was one show that was representation. I was a fan of it for years. And I'm already seeing all of a sudden there's an uptick in discussion about the show and about, we need to save the show. We need to, and we got to hurt and watch it. It's not fair. And immediately in the comments, almost, I'd say every time, if there's a couple that aren't, it might be just like a very small percentage. Almost all of it are men, and almost all of it are men telling other men that or just telling people in general that if you don't like it or if you hate it, you're just a bunch of sensitive crybaby men, man children, incels, toxic men who just are mad because it wasn't for them. And it's the same narrative all over again. And I'm getting sick of it because, first of all, a lot of people liked the show that were men. A lot of people didn't like the show that were women. A hell of a lot of people didn't like the show that were women. And just because you have tits and a vagina doesn't mean you're automatically going to like the show because it's girl power. It doesn't mean you're going to like it. Nor does it mean that you should be insulted or dismissed. And they keep doing what they always do. What's the lowest common denominator in our minds? And how can we dehumanize people and call them names so that we can walk around being like, ha, 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 I'm the more superior, I won. And I had to get into a couple people today about the fact that they were acting like, I said, well, yours bad because it's for 10-year-old girls. I was like, I'm a woman. My daughter was 10 at the time it came out. And you know what? She didn't like it either. And well, congratulations. And they're being snarky. I'm like, well, who's the one acting like an overly sensitive man-child now? I'm just getting tired of this. It's over. It's done. Here's the reality. The reality is it's done. They've already stepped over it. They're already going back to classic She-Ra. All the new toys are classic She-Ra. All the plans, if they have any plans, are going to be classic She-Ra. They are stepping over it, and they wouldn't do that. If it was a hit, if it was commercially viable and successful, they wouldn't step over it like they are. And to be fair, a lot of the people that were on that show have already grifted onto something else because they just go to whatever shipping bullshit bait they can go to next. And they've long moved on from the show. And it's the reality. It never had a huge viewership. I do not believe that for a minute. It doesn't even warrant them apparently making more DVDs. And for your sake, I hope they do make DVDs and finish it. Because I think it's crap they only have part of it out there, not the rest of it. They should finish it. Because that's just the right thing to do, given that they've already put some DVDs out there. I'd say that about any show. But It's long gone. It's done. It's dead and buried. Screaming about it, constantly bringing it up, and then having to go do all these in lockstep articles and going to all the boards trying to drum up something. It's not going to change anything because it's a licensing agreement. It's not about them just taking it off to be meanie pants to you. Trust me, Netflix, they're like the one streamer out there that if someone was going to leave it up, it was going to be them. They wouldn't take it down just for no reason. It's because there's no interest in it. And they probably don't have a licensing agreement anymore. And who knows, DreamWorks might be able to get someone else to pick it up. I doubt it, but they might. It's possible, that they could get somebody to pick it up. They at least should finish the DVDs. But if there's no money in it for them, they probably aren't going to. And that's just the reality of the situation. Cry harder, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just tired of dudes, especially, telling me as a woman what I should think and feel. And if I don't agree with them, it's because I'm obviously a man baby who couldn't flick my bean to She-Ra. Meanwhile, I want to point out, She-Ra in the original show was over 18, and it was an adult. She-Ra in the new show was a kid, and they made all kinds of porn of She-Ra and Catra. But it was okay when they did it. I'm just tired of it. No one cares. I'm looking at all my... I have a ton... I have She-Ra dolls here. Oh, look, I'm looking at my Masters of the Universe, Castle Grayskull, and there's a She-Ra sitting on top of it. Classic She-Ra. Because they don't care. The new doll they made? Classic She-Ra. It is what it is. So, what do you think? Please comment and let us know. Like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.